In relation to the events that happened, overnight, I am absolutely appalled and disgusted at the level of violence that was shown towards my officers. This is the same officers who've been supporting this community for the last 48 hours. Some of the first responders who attended that awful scene on Monday and then were faced with that level of violence. This is not Southport. This is not the communities of Merseyside. This is a close-knit, family-type community who were there at the vigil to share fellowship, show their respect, grieve, speak to each other about those terrible events, and just show the families of those little girls how much this has impacted on them. And yet that turned to a night of violence, and I'm just disgusted and appalled. They were there purely for hooliganism and thuggery, in terms of bringing that level of violence and that behaviour onto the streets of Southport, and that's not what this community is about. We saw the very best of that community last night at the vigil. We've seen the very best of this community this morning when they've all been pulling together to support each other, to put right the damage that has been done. That is not what this community is about. A number of arrests were made last night, but the investigation has already started into those offenders who were responsible. They absolutely will feel the full force of the law. I've got a full investigation team on this now, and we will continue until we have identified as many of those offenders as possible, and they will feel the full force of the law. And just to reassure the communities of Southport, who I am sure are really worried about, are we going to see this again tonight? What's going to happen? The communities of Merseyside, in terms of the intelligence out there, we are absolutely planning for this evening and for the weekend ahead. We are being really well supported from police forces across the North West to make sure we have got sufficient resources so that we don't see a repeat of last night.